And welcome, everybody. I can't believe this is our 11th annual poster session. And what I can't believe even more is that it's our third virtual poster session. You've all made it through a really tough year, and all of us are very, very proud of the production and the work that all of you have done, the brilliance you've shown, and especially your commitment to teamwork and collaboration. That's represented today. We've got 15 teams and representing 110 different students from what we think are 8 to 10 different professions. All this work reflects such timely issues. The IPTE, our Interprofessional Team Immersion, focused on the impact of long COVID. We also focused on, or I should say you focused on, telecollaboration and how that works across programs. And we did this IPTE this year with folks from Rosalind Franklin and also from Tufts in Massachusetts. And this is an example of innovation cross-institution that we will continue to do. And we believe that all students and faculty really benefit from it. We also have focused on innovative interprofessional leadership, and you'll see that in a lot of the posters today. We also have presentations today, and we've seen an increase over the last couple of years of student-led research and scholarship, and students involved in faculty scholarship as well. And we're learning more about how teamwork positively affects patients. And we're also learning a lot about the impact of what you're learning on campus about interprofessional competencies is impacting professional workforce practice. So we're very excited to see the posters today and to talk with you. And now it is my distinct pleasure to introduce Associate Provost for Academic Affairs and former Director of the Physical Therapy Program, Dr. Mike Shelton. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you, Shelley. Good afternoon, everybody. It's an honor and privilege to add my welcome to the Center of Excellence in Collaborative Education student poster session. While I currently work in the Provost's office, as Shelley mentioned, the majority of my career at UNE has been in the Department of Physical Therapy, where I began my career at UNE as a faculty member in 1990 and served as program director for about 20 years. In this context, I believe I have some great perspective on the amazing growth and maturation of the center, including the formal integration of interprofessional education into the curriculum across the various health professions programs at the university. Back in the day, as they say, the collaboration across programs that is now just part of your daily lives took some time to develop. There was always interest in collaboration from the beginning, but translating this energy and interest into meaningful and impactful program across the entire university required and continues to require an enormous amount of behind-the-scenes work. We have Dr. Cohen Conrad, Chris Hall, Michelle Cody, and countless faculty and professional staff champions over the years to thank for where we are today. And where are we today? The center has been recently organizationally moved to the Office of the Provost to signal its university-wide impact and presence. Collaborative education and practice is happening everywhere, such as the robust educational programming in the Interprofessional Simulation and Innovation Center, to our work in the community, such as our healthcare partnership with the Westbrook Housing Authority for Aging Mainers. You may have also heard about the major gift from the Harold Alfond Foundation to move the medical school to the Portland campus. This gift will also support the creation of an Institute for Interprofessional Education and Practice on the Portland campus. And having the medical school on the Portland campus will provide amazing opportunities to further develop innovative education, practice, scholarship, and research opportunities for the entire university. Faculty and administrators from other colleges and universities across the United States come to UNE to learn how we do what we do, and often comment that they struggle to achieve the same outcomes at their institutions because of the entrenched disciplinary silos at their institutions. At UNE, collaboration is just part of who we are. And while you may think, what's the big deal? It is a big deal. UNE is truly unique in this regard. And you may say, Mike, I get that you say all these glowing things given your role at UNE, but it's not just me saying this. For example, Barbara Brandt, the director of the National Center for Interprofessional Practice and Education, had this to say about UNE Center for Interprofessional Education and Practice at this year's Nexus Summit, an annual national conference that's sponsored by that center. And I'm going to perhaps embarrass Dr. Cohen-Conrad a little bit here with these remarks. Dr. Cohen-Conrad led an extraordinary plenary that focused on patient, family, and community engagement in their own health, showcasing the exemplary UNE IPE programs. UNE faculty, professional staff, and students made significant contributions to the quality of this year's Nexus Summit, demonstrating their cutting-edge leadership in the field of interprofessional practice and education. And today's poster session is another shining example. Involvement of students from every health professions program at UNE, an array of faculty mentors from across the various disciplines. Today's program looks outstanding, and I wish to extend my congratulations to all of you. So I'm really looking forward to today's presentation. It's an honor and privilege again to be here. And it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Karen Hausknecht, the Associate Provost for Research and Scholarship and Professor of Pharmacology, to offer her remarks.
Good afternoon. My name is Karen Hausknecht, and I am Professor and Associate Provost for Research and Scholarship here at UNE. I want to welcome all of you to this signature CECE event and share my congratulations to the student teams who are presenting their work today. Scholarly inquiry, innovative problem solving, interprofessional collaboration, and sharing new knowledge are foundational components of the UNE educational experience, and they also inform future clinical practice. I'm delighted to see interprofessional teams comprised of students from 8 different programs spanning our UNE campuses presenting their work today. As I read the abstracts for the posters, I was really impressed by the breadth of the work being presented, covering important real-world topics such as telecollaboration, COVID-19 and malaria-related research that impact communities globally as well as locally here in Maine. I also want to take a moment to recognize the faculty and professional staff mentors who work so hard every day with our students to help guide their learning and research experiences. And also recognize the CECE team for organizing yet another great virtual event. Finally, I want to give a shout out to those who provide financial support to this and other research efforts at the university. In addition to the UNE Office of Research and Scholarship, this work was supported by funding from Brian and Deborah Dallaire, Rosalind Franklin University, and Maine AHEC. And so with that, I just want to congratulate the students again on their important work and wish you all the best for a fun and informative poster session. Thank you.
Thank you particularly to Mike and Karen for those fantastic remarks. Thanks for being here and supporting our efforts. My name is Chris Hall. I'm the program coordinator here at CECE, and I'm here to let you know how best to enjoy the poster session. So as you can see, there are 3 breakout rooms that you'll be invited to travel to under your own power. The first breakout room is concerned with the interprofessional team immersion, which concentrated on telecollaboration and long COVID this semester. The second breakout room is leadership, and the third is scholarship. And they all have some really fantastic presentations. As you see from the visual here, the events in yellow, surrounded by blue, connected by the blue line, that represents what folks on the live stream and on Facebook Live will see. And so you'll see our audiovisual team moving through your breakout rooms as they present the live stream and the Facebook Live. And so you can stay in your track, or you can move around. It's completely up to you. You're welcome to select the breakout room of your choice at any given time. And we obviously will strive to stay on time, but you'll know when it is time, when you have an opportunity to move between sessions if you want to. And so without further ado, I think, Lee, I would invite you to go ahead and open up the breakout rooms and invite you all to move to the room of your choice. If you're not familiar with moving between breakout rooms, you should look at the lower part of your screen where you'll either see an option for breakout rooms or you will see behind the more 3 dots. You want to click on that.
Right, so here we go. So while we're welcoming everybody in, I know people are making their way through different rooms. This is the telecollaboration track, and we have several of our IPTE teams here today. And so we'd like to start this off during this transition time with just a quick quote from one of our alumni that spoke about the value of IPE in their education here at UNE, and now they work in a clinical setting. So again, I'd like to welcome everybody. And with me today, and like I said, I'm Michelle Cody. I work with CECE. And with me today, I have Sarah Garber from Rosalind Franklin University. And she'll be here to help answer questions and get the conversation going after this presentation. So this first presentation we have, here's the poster. It's about connection, lessons from interprofessional immersion. And so if any of the team members on this presentation are here today, if you want to give a wave here on screen so people can see who you are, welcome and thank you for participating in this presentation. And now we'll show your video.
Hello everyone, my name is Jillian Batista and I'm a third-year Doctor of Physical Therapy student at UNE. This semester, myself and multiple other disciplines participated in interprofessional team immersion. My team consisted of social work, occupational therapy, osteopathic medicine, allopathic medicine, physician assistant, and physical therapy. Our client was Amanda, who presented with long COVID. Amanda was hospitalized for 11 days and shortly after was discharged from the hospital and began experiencing excessive fatigue, cough, brain fog, short of breath, hair loss, loss of taste and smell, and debilitating migraine headaches. Our team goal was to work with one another to learn more about Amanda's circumstances and make recommendations for the next step in her care. This immersion allowed each of us to gain a better understanding of each other's professional roles, develop better collaboration skills, and to provide the best care to our patient. A main takeaway was learning how to work through trial and error with a variety of different skill sets. Below, we listed what we took away from this experience, our challenges and how we address them, and the pros and cons of telehealth. In addition, there's comments on the right side of our poster, and that gives you a brief statement from each discipline about what they took away from this experience. Thank you.
All right, everybody. So that was their presentation. We have a couple of minutes here to have some conversation and reflections. And if any of the presenters that were part of this, if you'd like to elaborate or speak more about your presentation, you have the floor.
Me or you, Dave, or both of us?
Go for it. You're rocking it.
Okay. Yeah, so just kind of touch on what I also said in the video. We just did the interprofessional team immersion and we came together, I want to say maybe 7 times and just planned how we were going to best care for our patient. And it was really nice. I think at first everyone was a little bit nervous and kind of hesitant, but once we started explaining what each discipline did and how we can help, I think really opened the doors, and it was a really great experience.
Thanks, Jillian. I can ask a quick question. What do you think was the most important characteristic in bringing everybody together to work on the same page?
I think communication. I think there was hesitancy of what we wanted to say and what we wanted to do, but we wanted to make sure that we were respecting each other's discipline. So I think just being respectful and communicating was a big thing for our group. I don't know, Dave, if you have anything to add there.
Yeah, with different, slightly overlapping professions coming together, one of the challenges was when we had a slight misalignment of perspective on what might be the best way to go forward or who might be the best person to go forward with it. Being able to work that out interprofessionally to say, all right, this is the consensus that we're forming, and this is the person who should best spearhead this part of patient care, client care. That was definitely a skill set that we developed. And then in presenting our different perspectives on client care to the clients, having kind of central voices that would come through each one of the different meetings so that they wouldn't just have a whole new group of faces every single time, that they had at least one or two people who would be there in each of the meetings, say, all right, we're going to introduce the new specialists that are coming in this week. We're going to be sure that your questions get back not just to the 4 people here that you're asking it to, but to everyone kind of behind the scenes. And having that kind of central thread running through each of the different appointments with our client seemed also really to put our client at ease and help facilitate getting communication both directions to the group and from the group, in addition to those professionals who could make it to a given meeting.
All right, we have Mike Sheldon has his hand up with a question.
Yeah, this is maybe a follow-up to what David just said, but I'm kind of curious in this realm. Obviously, long COVID is a new term, and I've heard some recent discussions that there are different forms of long COVID, and probably now trying to tease out sort of the different presentations in that realm. And I am kind of curious how you decided on a consistent communication plan when literally you all were learning in real time as well, right? Trying to keep up with all the contemporary information that was coming out, false information, parsing through, information that was incorrect versus, really trying to provide the patient the best information at the time, and how you all coordinated that.
And we have a couple of, oh, sorry, go ahead, David.
Yeah, I can speak to that just briefly. We didn't have any particularly strident disagreements. So we had a whole lot of good intellectual questioning where we asked, all right, what is the best way forward? I think this might be this particular way. And others saying, like, okay, from my background as an osteopath, as a physician, as whatever it happened to be, they would be able to share there. And thankfully, we didn't have any such strong opinions that there became a clashing of professions. So I'm certain that in further repetitions of this with other groups, that would be inevitable. But in our limited experience, we don't really have very much of that. And to your point, Mike, about a lot of this information being very new, we did a fair amount of research on our own and then try to find our own answers and bring it to the group for the next set of meetings. One of the challenges we had there was having 2 sample appointments in one evening. We only had a few minutes in between, the first appointment and the second, to do anything more than just kind of catch our breath and run ideas past each other. So in a more real world version of that, we would have definitely had more time to look up that information, which could have maybe led to other answers too. But thankfully, we didn't really have any strident clashes of professional doctrine perspectives or a jurisdiction.
And sorry, I know we have other questions in the chat, but I think we've got to transition to our next presentation here. So everybody either hang tight, or if you want to navigate to another room, feel free to do that in this next minute.
Awesome. So it is 12:20, so we're going to start with the next presentation. If this is going to be the Sled hockey group, so if everyone from that group who is here could just give a wave and introduce yourselves, that would be awesome.
Hi, everyone. So there's a big group of us here, and then there's a few that are on separate Zooms. So I'm Kayleen Mulvihill. I'm a third-year DPT student.
I'm Teresa. I'm also a third-year DPT student.
I'm Callie. I'm also a third-year DPT student.
I'm Megan, also a third-year DPT student.
I'm Kaylee, a first-year OT student.
I'm Emily, a first-year OT student. And I'm Maddie, a first-year OT student.
And then if those that are on separate Zooms want to introduce themselves.
I'm Jaden. I'm a second-year osteopathic medical student.
I'm Katie. I'm a third-year DPT student.
I'm Abby. I'm a first-year OT student.
Awesome. Thank you.
And David's on the call, so we're good to go.
Throughout the fall semester, our team worked together to host the first adaptive sled hockey event at UNE's Biddeford campus. Our team is a collective interest in adaptive athletics and outdoor recreation, and we were looking for a way to get involved with our community. With immense support from Veterans Adaptive Sports and the UNE community, we developed a successful event for participants from all over Maine. We had over 60 volunteers from UNE's physical therapy program, occupational therapy program, and the College of Osteopathic Medicine. Volunteers were eager to help check in participants, fit them for equipment, and safely get everyone on and off the ice. Each discipline brought their own unique expertise, providing participants the supportive assistance they needed.
The majority of participants had no experience playing hockey and ranged from the ages of 8 to 70 years old. One of our youngest participants was looking for a new sport to play after his adaptive tennis program ended. He was thrilled to have had the opportunity to try sled hockey and even said he wanted it to be his new sport. A mother who was accompanied by her daughter, who played on a youth hockey team, wanted to try adaptive sled hockey so that she could have the experience of being on the ice with her daughter. Now our interprofessional team has begun the process of developing an ongoing adaptive sled hockey program at UNE's Biddeford campus. It is our goal to facilitate recreational activities for individuals with disabilities to develop skills, enhance independence, and provide enjoyment through active recreation. Having access to and participating in recreational sports is integral to a well-rounded life for every person. We hope to create a collaborative experience for all UNE students and for individuals with disabilities within our community.
Our goal for the 2022 spring semester is to collaborate with other sled hockey programs and teams in the New England area to develop relationships and to continue gaining participants for an ongoing sled hockey program at UNE. We are currently seeking guidance from the USA Sled Hockey representative, Taylor Lipset, who is helping to connect our group to sled hockey programs in Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. We would like to plan 2 more adaptive sled hockey events at the Alfond Arena. We are grateful to have the support of David Witten, Harold Alfond Forum Manager, and Judy Sullivan, Maine Adaptive Program Coordinator.
As we build participant interest, our plan is to create an ongoing league starting fall 2022. During the spring semester, our plan is to apply for a USA Hockey grant to obtain 5 adult sleds for UNE. We will be doing a hockey equipment drive on campus and in the community to help collect chest pads, elbow pads, knee pads, and helmets for participants. Our next step at the end of the spring semester and during the summer semester is to develop a proposal to apply for a UNE mini grant to help assist in the purchase of youth sleds for the program. Our small team of interprofessionals from physical therapy, occupational therapy, and osteopathic medicine are eager to develop this program in an effort to bring a new, unique adaptive sport to the community. Students from UNE's health professional disciplines will have the opportunity to utilize their skills to help community members participate in an adaptive sport. This collaborative program will be an enriching learning experience for
Again, what an impressive, that was like a professional presentation slideshow. I'm just, again, very impressed with this second presentation as well. I don't see any questions in the chat. So I just was shocked that the mom and the child, her daughter, played together. So could you talk about the young boy? Could he bring a friend that has an that's able-bodied to play in the league. And it was such a diverse, I think 8 to 70 years old. So can you talk a little bit more about the league and who can be involved?
Yeah, so as of right now, our next goal for the spring semester is once again to have 2 more events in order to get more participants to show up. If possible, we'd like to do a youth league as well as an adult league. As of right now, it's going to be more adults and youth just playing together until we have more participants and the program grows. But so speaking of the mother and daughter duo, so the daughter actually plays on the youth team, and she was playing at the UNE arena that day. And her mom has never been able to go on the ice with her, even when they have like a mother-daughter day on the ice for her team. So her mother's goal was always to just get on the ice, and this made it possible, and they were able to skate together, which was honestly one of the most rewarding experiences.
Wow, that's just got me emotional. Yeah, that's incredible. Amazing.
As for the little boy, I would say absolutely. He can bring friends. It's really open to anyone, even those that are able-bodied, just to try it out. We're hoping to have the ability to give that opportunity to students too to try out, just so that they have a better idea of how it's performed and how it works.
Okay. Excellent. Does anyone from the audience have any questions? Sorry, I'm looking at you all, but my camera is on a different view, so I apologize for my weird angle. There's nothing in the chat. We do have a couple minutes for another question.
And if there's no questions, honestly, like, this is a new program, and we would love all of the help, all of the assistance that we can get. A lot of us are 3rd-year DPT students, so we will be heading out on our clinical next spring. We'll of course be reaching out and making sure that the program continues on, but for those who are going to be on campus, staying here longer, we'd love for your support. We'd love for your help, because I think this is going to be an incredible opportunity. So we just want to get it off the ground and really go for it.
I love the shout out. And there is another mention for those of you who tried the equipment. What surprised you most addressing able-bodied versus those with the adaptation needs? And then do you need to have hockey experience to volunteer? So if you can quickly answer those questions.
No hockey experience. Honestly, you don't even have to put skates on. They have little like booties to put on to protect the ice with your shoes. None of our participants had played hockey before, so it was all brand new to them.
Excellent. All right, we're going to move on to the next presentation. Well done. Congratulations all.
Thank you.
Awesome. So we're going to wait a minute, and then in 1 minute, the group on social determinants of health is going to present. So if you all can get ready to introduce yourselves and give a little wave, that would be awesome. So we know that you're all here. Awesome. So I'm going to start your video.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Jessie Caton, and I'm here with my colleagues today to present our poster on Social Determinants of Health Month, the expansion into interprofessional education. I'm here with Belle Bokel, Austin Vaughn, and Katie Santinello, and we'd first like to thank our faculty mentor, Dr. Shelley Cohen-Conrad, for all of her support throughout this initiative. The Social Determinants of Health Month initiative was started in 2020 by now 3rd-year COM student Alyssa Ahern and COM Student Club Physicians for Social Responsibility, in hopes that COM and broader UNE community would engage in discussions that are difficult but necessary. Throughout this initiative, UNE students and community members are encouraged to explore conditions in which people live, grow, work, learn, and age in that impact individual health, while also learning about systems of oppression that perpetuate those conditions and disparities in healthcare. Students and faculty are encouraged to reflect on the difficult conversations held during this month and utilize the various resources available to them on the website we have created for further evidence on the topics and how to address them. We hope through this initiative, students and faculty continue to build cultural humility, which places greater emphasis on lifelong nurturing of self-evaluation and critique, promotion of interpersonal sensitivity and openness, addressing power imbalances, and advancement of an appreciation of intercultural variation to avoid stereotyping. And now I would like to hand it off to my colleague, Belle.
Thank you so much, Jessie. A huge part of this month was, of course, having events at the Social Determinants of Health Month, but more than events, there was a component of interprofessional engagement, which is huge at UNE. These events will encourage participants to think about how we might affect positive change in our communities and in our future patient populations. This year, over 15 clubs and organizations across all of the health professions came together to host guest lecturers, students, and physician panels, community volunteer opportunities, and other alternative opportunities for the UNE community to learn about social factors, impacting health. Now I'm going to pass it over to my colleague, Austin.
Thanks, Belle. As Belle just mentioned, over the course of this month, students, faculty, and other members of the UNE community attended events both virtually and in person. And some of the programs represented included the College of Medicine, Physical Therapy, and Social Work, amongst others. While the expansion to other programs marks a landmark moment for Social Determinants of Health Month at UNE, the data shows there's room for large improvements incorporating the Portland campus into SDOH efforts. Some of the ideas being discussed to progress SDOHM at UNE include earlier collaboration with all UNE graduate programs and CECE in order to give ample time to plan events, continued seeking of funding to support larger efforts, and potentially changing the month in order to avoid a holiday week and shorter days, which can have an influence on nighttime attendance. A final upcoming change, which will have a positive impact on these efforts, is the transition of the College of Medicine to the Portland campus in the fall of 2024. And now I'll pass it off to my colleague, Katie, to close.
Thanks, Austin. So we'd just like to again acknowledge Dr. Shelley Cohen-Conrad, as well as the Center for Excellence in Collaborative Education for funding the Social Determinants of Health Month events. We'd also like to give a big thanks to the Office of Research and Scholarship, as well as the Unicom clubs and organizations who participated, as well as COM-RSAS. Thanks so much, and we look forward to answering your questions.
Excellent job. I am so impressed with the trailblazing and leadership of the students and the student groups. This is wonderful. Something that stands out, thank you for putting the Social Determinants of Health website into the chat. Is it Jessie or Jess?
Jessie.
Jessie. So my question is, I think it can create a lot of potential publicity engagement by the students because you're talking about changing the month. So how would that be done? Did the first student group just pick November, or is it established based on a larger organization that November is the month? I'm just curious.
So this was when we started this last year, we just kind of randomly picked November. There wasn't really any rhyme or reason to it. So moving to having more of the interprofessional aspect to it and having more collaboration, trying to find a better month that works for everyone is one of our biggest goals moving forward.
Good luck with that. This is wonderful. So there is a question, what were the benefits of having an interdisciplinary group work on this project?
Sure, I can take that, Jessie, and we can maybe popcorn it around the group. So again, Belle, second year social work. I had worked on a few different interprofessional teams with my friend Katie Santinello, who is actually on this team as well in COM, and had just been a big fan of the Social Determinants of Health Month that from their website. And maybe it was my own implicit bias and confusion. I wasn't sure if the language, we were in virtual learning last year to keep our communities safe. And I just wasn't sure if the events were for everyone, or, I think sometimes depending on the type of learner that you are, you might not feel comfortable going to another club or another school's event and not know anyone. I would be, but not everyone is. And so I'd ask Katie if she knew Jessie, if she was involved with Social Determinants of Health Month, if she had gone to any of the event programming the year before, and if she would facilitate an introduction. Jessie and I did a Zoomie and we just hit it off. And I asked if she was interested in making it interprofessional. This is kind of social work's bread and butter. It's our curriculum. It's in our code of ethics. I approached Dr. Cohen Conrad and I asked if she would be interested in reading a mini grant, if I would write it, and approached Jessie if she knew about this as a form of funding, how she had funded it the year before, if SGA was involved. We have GAPSA here in Portland, just kind of what was going on. And it just took off from there. And so to the question in the chat about, the benefits of having an interdisciplinary group work on this project, I think of it, I always go back to sports teams, or if you were in band, we all bring different skills to a project. And I think that was what I took away from it, but I'd love to popcorn it to the team.
So we have another minute to hear from others.
Yeah, I'm happy to add to that, but also I see that there's a hand up. Was there a separate question that was looking to be asked before the end of the session?
There is, but go ahead. I don't want to stifle the conversation here. Keep going.
Sure. So I can add a little bit onto what Belle just said. And I guess this is somewhat anecdotally. But for example, the Pediatrics Club, one of the events we put on was about adverse childhood experiences. And Belle, although she's not in the Pediatrics Club because she's not in the College of Medicine, was able to come down and give a beautiful presentation that was really insightful and kind of at her own point of view and experiences on those, and educate some of the people in the College of Medicine on adverse childhood experiences and the kind of health effects that it has. Again, similar kind of what Belle was just saying. I think that the more people and inputs that you have, and obviously expanding the amount of people that are contributing to this month as a whole, the more unique experiences and perspectives that you have. And I think that social determinants of health is not just pertaining to, one particular field in healthcare, but across the field. So being aware of not just, how implicit bias or, fat bias or any of the other topics that we talk about affects not only, the perspective of doctors and physicians, but also of, social workers and pharmacists and OTs and PTs, I think is really helpful in order to make sure that we're kind of keeping a much larger view about the effect of that and how we can try to continue to impact change. So.
Thank you, Austin. I think we have about 40 more seconds. So Mike, if you want to propose your question, Dr. Sheldon.
I can. So thanks, Erin. And so quick follow-up to what you actually just said. Your recommendations beyond the month of what we should do to basically, ensure the change that you're hoping to, for student graduates of this program in this arena. So if there's intended to be impact, I'm curious to hear what your recommendations about what we could all be doing collectively as a university to follow up on what you guys have created here.
Oh, David is here, is going to be live streamed.
Do we need to wait for Lee as well before we get started?
I don't know, David, can you help us out here? I don't know. Hold on, let me text Chris.
David says you're good to go.
Awesome.
Excellent. So if our team members for this presentation could please just raise their hand or give a thumbs up or some icon to let us know who you are, that would be great. And I'm Kelly Fox, and I'm the faculty facilitator, and Elise is our student facilitator.
So next presentation is Westbrook Housing Authority Educational Seminar Series.
Hi, everybody. My name is Marima, and I'm an OT student at UNE, and I'm representing the Westbrook Housing Authority Educational Series poster for my team. My team members include Erica, a PT, Alex, a PT, Angela, an OT, and myself, an OT. My team, some background information from Westbrook Housing includes that the Housing Authority provides affordable housing for families and adults over the age of 55. Currently, there are 555 affordable housing opportunities for seniors living throughout Westbrook, Maine. We can thank Tom Muser for establishing this connection with Westbrook Housing residents through the UNE's Center for Excellence in Aging and Health. Tom and his staff worked hard to perform a needs assessment and create events that would be meaningful to the residents at Westbrook Housing. This was when the Westbrook Housing Educational Seminar Series was created with various wellness topics that residents would be interested in, which include pain, balance, nutrition, goal setting, use of adaptive equipment, and technology use. There was a collaboration between PT and OT students for each educational seminar to create a well-rounded representation for the residents. We have learned that collaboration is key in developing our future careers, as we will work closely together to improve patient outcomes once we enter into our professional fields. We found that the best patient care models are through transdisciplinary care models, and this has allowed us to provide our residents with well-rounded presentations that apply to their everyday functions. After completing the first seminar on pain management, the residents were super interactive, and we wanted to provide them with something more. So we created the Westbrook Housing Authority mini grant to fund different wellness prizes to provide to residents following the seminar. The goal of these prizes was to promote healthy habits among residents and continue to increase attendance from the Westbrook Housing Authority residents. We have had 3 presentations in total so far, and will continue them into the spring semester. We are so thankful we can establish a connection between the residents of Westbrook Housing and the therapy departments this semester. We hope to continue to provide services in the future and continue to provide more services in the future. We want to thank all the PT, OT, and social work faculty that have established and supported this project. This project was funded by the Centers for Excellence in Collaborative Education. We want to thank the Office of Research and Scholarship and Brian and Deborah Dallaire for their ongoing support. We would also like to thank the Pharmacy Department and Tricia Mason for contributing resources to the Westbrook Housing Authority grant. We would also like to thank Chris Hall and Michelle Coe for assisting us throughout this process. Again, thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your presentation. That was great. I'm just curious, is there anybody in the room who has any questions for our presenters? I have a question. So what surprised you the most about this collaboration? And is there any member of the team that you wish you had?
So I can answer that. My name is Erica. I think the biggest surprise for me was understanding a different perspective, because in physical therapy school, you learn how to be a physical therapist, you learn how to help in that aspect, but it was really neat to hear how OTs help also in the same aspect, but in a different way. So it was really cool just to have the interprofessional interaction to help us gain more knowledge of different professions. In the future, we would love to have more interaction with other students from pharmacy and medical, but at this time, because we're starting to get it going, we're just sticking with PT and OT.
Anybody else want to respond to that?
I can add to that. I agree with everything Erica said. My name is Alex. I'm also a PT student. Unfortunately, we don't have any of our OTs here today, But I think in the future, bringing in pharmacy, social work, pretty much all the UNE professions, we could see great growth in this project. The residents are super fun to work with, and they have so many great questions for us and make us keep learning every day. So it's been a great project.
Great. So we have a question in the chat from Dr. Cramsey. Anything related to the grant writing for this mini grant that you anticipate bringing with you into your practice? And do you have any advice for other students pursuing mini grants through CECE?
That is a great question. I feel like by collaborating and writing this mini grant, it helps me tremendously to understand the importance of actually collaborating as a team and taking like a leadership role in a roundabout way to help so things get done right. I think for the future to help other students it's worth it. It's a lot of hard work, but seeing the joy that it brings to our grant, the grant that we have, it brings to the residents has really helps me a lot to realize that I'm really glad I wrote the grant to help them, but it also helps me to be more professional in the future.
I would also add that throughout the grant process, we definitely had a lot of mentors, faculty mentors. Dr. Cramsey was one of them. So it was super helpful to reach out to them as well and just keep getting feedback on what we can improve and kind of work as a team to figure out how we can make the grant accepted.
Thank you so much. And Elise says, as someone who participated in the Westbrook Housing Project, I just want to highlight how wonderful of an opportunity it is for older adults. There was so much socialization, laughter, and education gained from the session. Thanks for that addition, Elise. Anyone else? I think we're just about, I think we have to move forward now. So thank you all for being here, and thank you for your wonderful presentation.
Yeah, we invite you now, if anyone needs to move rooms, to do so. We do need to get started with our next presentation just because we're running a little behind, but not too bad.
Great. So for those of you who are our presenters this time, if you could just put up an icon or raise your hand or give us a thumbs up to let us know who you are. Great. Thank you.
So our next group is Ghana Cross-Cultural Health Immersion Medication Label Redesign.
This is our project. It's called the Ghana Cross-Cultural Health Immersion Medication Label Redesign.
Hi, my name is Lisa. I'm a student at UNE.
Hi, my name is Sarah May Rose. I am a second-year pharmacy student at UNE.
Hi, my name is Megan Larson, and I am a public health student at UNE.
And I'm Shannon. I'm a pharmacy student. I'm a first year. We also want to thank Dr. Saeed Wasti and Emily Hand, a nursing student, for also participating in this project, and Dr. Rachel Mayer and Jennifer Seedy for being our mentors. And here's just our presentation outline. We're going to go through the background. We're going to go through the audience, the products that we produced, and our next steps. And I'm going to hand it over to Lise to get started.
We found out that health literacy and health communication is a major concern in many cities, town healthcare cities in Ghana. So we're gonna go over some audience. So for the audience, Ghana has some patients and healthcare workers. It has urban, but 79% completed primary high school.
So the product that we designed was a medication label for prescription medications that patients take home with them. And we implemented various implements from the previous label and then used some feedback from some community health workers from Ghana that we met with. And then what we concluded from that was pictures were better than text overall, and then numbers were better than just written instructions. So 2 times 1 versus take 2 tablets once a day. And then that previous medication label right there is what we built our new label on.
Based on the feedback that we got from James and Richard, who we connected with from Ghana, and then using the knowledge that we gained from our schoolwork, this is what we came up with for the updated label. Just moving things around and making minor but effective changes. And to implement the process change of using the label, we did the needs assessment of the community. We researched, developed the implementation, the new label. Now we got to implement and evaluate the impact. We developed some community healthcare training, community healthcare worker training that will be used to allow the community health workers to become content experts on the label.
So the evaluation tool for healthcare workers that we developed is based on a 26-point scale. And based off the score, we either need to re-educate the healthcare provider, and depending on the distribution of those scores for all of the healthcare providers, we either need to change our label or it's considered successful. And this is the patient usability tool we developed. It's got yes or no questions, and basically the healthcare provider scores it to score the patient's understanding. These are our references, and we are wondering if you have any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions from people in the audience? Mike or Megan?
Megan's hand was up first if she has a question.
I don't, sorry. I was part of the group and I forgot to put my hand down. Sorry.
I always have a question. Shelley knows I always have a question. So that was awesome. And as I, was listening to your presentation, it's very much a design thinking process. The to mind where you iterated on, in terms of what would work, and you were evaluating in real time. How does this work? My familiarity with the Ghana program is we're there for a brief amount of time, and the ability to have impact, sustained impact over time. So what are your thoughts about, something like this that continues to improve? Is it now the casework, the case folks that are actually on the ground that have the skill set to be able to continue to further improve on? I mean, it's awesome what you created. And I'm wondering, sort of the ongoing evaluation and quality improvement thing. So how does that work in a program like this?
I think from my understanding, I think the ongoing improvement process would still be a collaboration with the University of New England in conjunction with the community healthcare workers, using specifically what we developed, the evaluation tools, to hopefully give us a snapshot of how the updated label is working for the community. And we did do like a percentage criteria. So based on the results from the evaluation, there would be re-education for the patients or the community healthcare worker, whoever is having the evaluation, or if the results are unfortunately low enough, that would then trigger the label to be sent back to UNE for further evaluation for future students. So I believe what the plan is to have the label evaluated with the evaluation tools, go back, that information will go back to the cross-cultural program, and then it will be evaluated if things need to be improved upon again. Still going with the same framework of this go round with UNE students working with community healthcare workers.
Is there a mechanism for sustained communication across the year?
That I don't know, unfortunately.
Yes, I think Dr. Jen Morton and I think Tricia Mason are in communication with the folks that we collaborate with in Ghana on a regular basis, from the University of Cape Coast, as well as the folks on the ground in Takoradi and Sekondi. Any other questions? So I'm curious about how it was to collaborate across disciplines for this project, considering that you all weren't pharmacists, you all weren't public health people, and this was a cross-disciplinary experience or interprofessional experience. I'm curious what that was like for all of you.
I can start off by just saying that I thought it was really interesting to kind of see it from like two different perspectives. From a pharmacy perspective, for me, I was more focused on the actual like drug information, while from a public health perspective, it felt like a lot more of a macro look at everything, of like investigating exactly how the label worked and how effective it was in the population as a whole versus just for each individual patient, was just kind of like really interesting for me. I know Megan, you worked a lot on the evaluation tool and everything, and I thought that was really interesting for me anyway.
Yeah, I found it was a great experience. I do think that this particular project really suited an interprofessional group really well. I think that for public health, we want to improve the health of the world or a whole population, and are focused more on preventative measures. And then I think the pharmacy perspective was great to have, just because of what we were working on, the prescription label, making sure that we had all the necessary requirements on the label itself, and then nursing too, with the aspect of patient care, is really important to make sure that we consider that as well. So I really do think that this particular project worked really well with our group.
Well, I think our time is done for today. There is a link for the attendance in the chat box. Thank you all for your presentations and for all the great work that you're doing. And I really appreciate your taking the risk of working interprofessionally and learning what that's all about. So thank you very much. Have a great rest of your afternoon.